Good morning and welcome to the DAC Monthly Webcast. I'm Jennifer Stafford, the Director in the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support. I welcome you today during this beautiful sunny day here in Central Kentucky. We appreciate your engagement and your attention in our assessment and accountability topics. We hope that you're having a good summer. It's quickly winding down to the end, and we'll be back into back to school activities and the return of our teachers and our students very soon, and all the preparations for the new year. Preparations are also going on here in the Office of Assessment and Accountability for the new year as well. And we've got some updates for you and some tentative timelines. Kristen Roseberry is going to be here to talk about this optional fall ACT administration that may or may not happen. We want to bring you and keep you up to date on all of the details around the administration of the ACT. There's still some negotiating going on between the Kentucky Department of Education and the ACT for their new company that they have merged with and on the contract. So we want to keep you up to date and let you know as things are progressing, but we still don't have that contract finalized. So we want to bring you up to date, keep you informed so that if it does happen, we are fully prepared, both as an agency and within the districts. We'll turn then to case screen training update. Shara Savage is here to bring those to you. And then I'm going to present the Kentucky United We Learn prototypes. We've been working with the Kentucky United We Learn now for a couple of years, and we want to bring you into the conversation and engage you with those prototypes. We'll also, very exciting news, we're going to share the tentative reporting timeline for our assessment results and accountability reporting from the 2023-2024 school year. And then Cheryl will be back to provide us some links and reminders about those administration code trainings and the materials that are currently available. Just want to make sure that you have all of the right links and are using the most up-to-date resources. And then we have an exciting opportunity for someone in your districts, hopefully, that Cher is going to have a announcement about an opening we have within the Division of Assessment Accountability Support. So Cher is going to share that with you as well. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen for our tentative ACT.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. As Jennifer said, my name is Kristen Roseberry, a program consultant in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. And I just want to give you some information on our optional fall 2024 ACT Senior Administration. As Jennifer said, the contract is still currently being negotiated. And so until those necessary procedures are completed and the contract is in place, it's important to consider that this information is tentative. The fall 2024 Senior Administration is an optional opportunity for all public school grade 12 students, and it's an optional opportunity for all Kentucky's public high school seniors. It is not mandatory for the students. However, it is required for every district to offer the option to their seniors. I also want to mention that this will be the final year that the Senior ACT administration will be offered. The tentative dates for window 1 of the fall ACT Senior Administration are October 1st through the 4th and 7th through the 11th. The fall administration this year will be like this past spring's administration. You'll be able to use the full 9 days of the testing window if needed to test your students. The tentative dates for test window 2 are October 15th through the 18th and 21st through the 25th. And again, you'll be able to use all 9 days of the testing window. Please note also that ACT and OAA have worked to secure an emergency test window 3, and we will work with districts should a statewide emergency arise and they need to use that. Next, we have some tentative training dates for this fall ACT administration. The accommodations webinar will be on August the 1st. The ACT OAA administration training will be on August the 7th, and the test administration webinar will be on August the 15th. Any registration and additional information regarding those training dates will be released in an upcoming DAC email once the modified contract is finalized. I believe next I will turn this over to Shara, but first I wanted to ask Ben, are there any questions?
Hey, Kristen, I'm refreshing our inbox now just to make sure we don't miss any. And currently we don't have any, but as always, we'll circle around at the end of our webcast today and make sure we get all the questions that we receive.
Thank you, Ben. I will now turn it over to Shara.
Thank you, Kristen. So I am stepping in for Lisa Jett. She apologizes that she cannot be with you. She is conducting an in-person K-screen training as we speak, so I'm stepping in for her. She wanted to remind you that the final Train the Trainer will be a virtual event, and those will be held on the afternoons of August 28th and 29th. It is required that you attend both days in order to receive your ELA credit. And she has on the slide there for you the link to register for those trainings. So with that, I will pause here. Any questions, Ben, on K-Screen?
None at the moment, and we will circle back around at the end too if we get any in the meantime.
Well, certainly. At this time, I will turn it over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Shara, and thank you, Kristen, for that update. We want to turn now and share with you the Kentucky United We Learn prototypes. You may have heard of those. You may have heard of the Kentucky United We Learn Council. It was formed in 2022 and had a kickoff in November of 2022. Currently, there are 55 members of the council that are a diverse group of stakeholders that are led by Penny Christian, who's the chair, Jim Flynn, who's the vice chair, and Karen Dodd, the chief performance officer here at the Kentucky Department of Education. So they are charged with reimagining what Kentucky's future assessment and accountability programs could be. So it's been a long journey that has spanned several years from the kickoff of the education survey in 2020 through the Kentucky Coalition for Advancing Education in 2021. And then we, as the department, received a $3 million competitive grants on state assessments in 2022, which is funding the Kentucky United We Learn Council. So it's been a long journey to get to the place that we are today for these prototypes. The prototypes have come out of work that has been ongoing since that convening in November of 2022. There were work groups and standing committees that have been working since that time. And all of those feedbacks and all of those standing committees and those work groups have combined their efforts to get us to the place we are today. So the standing committee that I get to serve and facilitate is the Accelerated Innovation Committee. And we worked throughout the year of 2023 learning about different programs and assessments, different programs and accountability, both inside Kentucky and outside Kentucky. So we had people that went back and researched what happened during the 1990s here in Kentucky, what worked, what didn't work as well, and what could be advanced into a new system. We had members who researched other states within the United States as well as other countries outside of the United States to formulate their background and understanding of what future systems could look like or could be. In November of 2023, we took a turn in the council away from those standing committees to very focused work groups. And those work groups have been working along the way on different aspects. There are communication aspects, there are building and engaging communications with our families and engaging communities, as well as technical support, as well as innovating assessment and accountability. In November of 2023, I got to serve and facilitate a systems of systems work group who have influenced the prototypes, as well as in April of 2024, a menu of options work group was formed to continue the work of reimagining assessment and accountability. So the Kentucky United We Learn's mission, or their major goal, is to have a prosperous Kentucky. We will launch an accountability system that does include different types of assessments that is useful to all learners. So with that in mind, we have worked to develop these prototypes. Now, as we get into these prototypes, there have been different versions of the prototypes. We had a version 1.0 that the menu of options work group had input, continued to modify and revise. To tell you the difference between version 1 and version 2, version 1 had 4 prototypes, and version 2 only has 2 prototypes. So we're in this phase, it's an iterative phase where we're collecting feedback, we're getting ideas, and we're bringing together people's thoughts in a diverse group, bringing together their thoughts. As we get more feedback, then we're going to continue to revise it. So on Tuesday, the superintendents had the opportunity to hear about the prototypes, and district assessment coordinators, your insight and your feedback is critical in this process. So we're going to go over these prototypes and share with you a survey that we're hoping that you will take the time and complete your thoughts about the prototypes. So Ben, if you will move to the next slide, please. So these prototypes are meant to illustrate different and unique approaches for future assessment accountabilities. They're just different approaches. It's not meant to be that it's one prototype versus the other prototype. So you're not choosing, oh, I like prototype 1 versus prototype 2, but more so it's a conversation starter, so that we can look at the different aspects of the prototype and analyze the different approaches to determine if there's things in there that we like, or if there's things in there that maybe we don't like so much. And it's a way to offer a different approach. So as you look at these, you think about within these, what are those essential elements that you would like to see advanced or further conversation about, or not? And then we're going to ask you to complete a survey. So looking at prototype 1, the strategy with prototype 1 is to build in an accreditation style system into the state accountability system that incorporates transparency and more flexibility of evidence being brought into our accountability system. So in this approach, with an accreditation style approach, there would be flexibility with the schools to meet these different domains here on the screen. So that school and districts leaders would decide what type of evidence that they would submit to as a way to demonstrate that they're meeting these school quality measures, given that they would have that flexibility. They would share with their local boards of education and an external evaluator to review and provide feedback on these different domains. Schools would receive ratings on these different domains based on rubrics around these school quality measures. The schools could engage with local communities to see how that our communities could then support the school improvement efforts. And as the evidence would be continuously revised or continuously updated, then the schools could report the evidence to this external evaluator, submitting the resubmitting the evidence on regular basis. And the suggestion is that we would do it at least once every 3 years. As a reporting feature, what we would do is report in real time to the stakeholders within our communities. Kentucky would still have to meet the federal requirements for accountability, but this prototype, what it does is reduces the accountability requirements in that federal system to the bare minimum. And what that would entail is for those classifications of federal ratings, would reduce that to only those federally reported required categories, which is TSI, Targeted Support and Improvement, and ATSI, Additional Targeted and Supported, and CSI, Comprehensive Support and Improvement schools, and then another category. And we could call that something like meets requirements or something different from those. So Ben, if you go to the next slide. So within these prototypes are choice points or decision points. And so here's the first choice point within prototype 1 is to whether or not to continue the current change component in our current accountability system, or to incorporate individual student growth over a period of time. So as a reminder that currently we have the change component in our current accountability system, which is the difference between prior year performance and current year performance on those school indicators. So the difference between, for instance, our progress on EL indicator from one year to the next for the school. Whereas individual student growth is the difference in student performance in reading and math from one year to the next. So again, that's another choice point that you can think about and contemplate. Next slide. So just as a reminder, assessment is different than accountability. Accountability are those pieces of and those indicators around which schools are held accountable. It's those data that is collected and brought together and interpreted and used to make decisions about school quality and interventions. Our current accountability system has those indicators that I just mentioned, the EL indicators, but around reading and math, other academic indicator, post-secondary readiness, the quality school climate and safety, and so forth. So we use all of those and we combine those indicators into a color rating. Assessments, on the other hand, are how we measure students' performance, and it's used as an indicator. So the next choice point here is using within these options for assessments. So the first option here, 1.2a, offers a through year model where there are multiple assessments throughout the year, and those assessments that are given earlier in the academic school year would be used to give back feedback around particular students for instructional purposes. So those would be formative type assessments, and they would replace the interim assessments that the school systems are already purchasing. So reducing that local assessment cost and shifting that testing to cost to the state, where the state would then provide a comprehensive, cohesive system that would align to the very small summative assessment. Now, state assessments in science and social studies would remain the same in this first option. The second option, option 1.2b, brings about a competency-based approach that includes authentic demonstrations of learning and skills that brings together those skills around our local performance portrait of a learner, and it would be in combination with a small summative assessment from the state. Now, this is the most flexible in option that we have among the assessments. So we would need some help to pilot this type of system, a competency-based system. We would need some districts that would be willing to pilot it and then work to build it statewide with the idea that it would go statewide. Since this is very different than what is currently approved by the U.S. Department of Education, we would need waivers and some flexibility from the U.S. Department of Education. So we would have to work alongside the department on the flexibilities. The last option here, option 1.2c, would reduce the number of statewide assessments to only those that are federally required, which is reading, math, and science. The other content areas would then shift to the local schools for their instructional purposes. Now, in this option, we could use either of the other two options, either a through course or competency based. Next slide, please. The approach with prototype 2 then includes a vibrant learning experience indicator. So we could do this a couple of different ways. The first option is in 2.1a, would include it in federal accountability. So with that, there would be a defined number of options that would indicate the vibrant learning experiences being offered within the school. So schools could also, if they didn't want any of those that are currently being discussed, there would be a process for another locally defined, locally proposed, federally approved options that we could work through. So the idea here is that a common set of rubrics would be used by the districts to implement each of these. So the choice and flexibility would be at the school or district level to say which of these options that they would choose, but the rubrics would remain the same and it would be able to then be included in federal accountability. The other option here around vibrant learning experiences, 2.1b, would be to include this in state accountability. Then schools would submit evidence around their local vibrant learning experiences, and evidence would be collected on possibly a 5-point rubric that schools would then be evaluated on. It could include the percentage of students that are experiencing vibrant learning experiences. It could also have impact on our color ratings here within the school report card. So for example, if a school had one of the higher levels of vibrant learning, then it would move up a color rating and have impact on those color ratings. So lots of opportunities here for discussion and starting points. Ben, next slide, please. So that we have a common definition of vibrant learning experiences, the Kentucky United We Learn Council has adopted a definition of vibrant learning experiences. And you can see it here that it's learning that matters to all students. Ben, next slide, please. Other considerations for the prototypes include reporting, school improvement efforts, as well as physical impacts on the school and district. So with reporting, it depends on the approach that's taken, how the school report card and our local report cards could be impacted. But it's to reimagine how the state could provide meaningful, useful information to our communities and the public about school quality. So we would have to reimagine a reporting around each of these. And then, of course, if the federal accountability that identifies those federal classifications is impacted, then school improvement efforts would have to be revisited. And then we also, as we're thinking through the policies, as we're thinking through the implementation, we also have to think about the impact on physical resources as well as our human resources. So any changes that occur legislatively has physical impact or possible physical impact. So changes within the prototype, such as the accreditation, and that collection of evidence will impact the human resources and the implementation cost at the school and district and state level. So we have to think through those and possibly do some advocacy around those resources. So as we're thinking through this, we want to continually to keep in the front of our minds the impact on our teachers, our administrators, and our students. Next slide, please. So as we move through the prototype discussions, there will be multiple versions. So what's being shared broadly with you and others is version 2.0. So as we think through these and move through different iterations, we want to keep in mind the impact on federal as well as state. So if there are changes to the accountability system, then we have to seek approval from the U.S. Department of Education through the Consolidated State Plan. So any accountability changes that impacts the federal must be approved by the Department of Education. If it impacts, if any of our changes impacts assessments, then we have to seek approval through the peer review process. And as far as state, if there are changes that would require statutory changes, we'll have to seek approval and support from our General Assembly. And if there's regulatory changes, our Kentucky Board of Education would be involved in that. And then, of course, any policies that are changed, the department would have to engage in updating our policies around any future assessment and accountability system. So lots to think about as we move to the next slide. So your feedback is critical. So district assessment coordinators, you have a very, very critical part to play in this assessment or accountability system. So we want your feedback. During the special DAC email, or in the special DAC email that was shared this morning, you have a link that we will update to the version 2.0 document. And there's also a survey in there. So the survey will be completed. We're asking you to complete the survey by Friday, July 19th, to give us feedback on each of these critical elements, as well as others. I know I've done a quick overview of this, but there is a supporting video that is available. It's about 30 minutes, goes into much more detail than I've done here this morning. So if you would care to, please, we're kindly asking you to watch that video, fill out that survey, and please engage with us as we think about the future of Kentucky. As we move through this feedback loop, then we're going to take to multiple advisory councils. There will be multiple advisory committees that are happening this month and in the future that we will be attending. Just to name a few that we have this month, next week, we are presenting to the School Curriculum Assessment and Accountability Council. The prototypes, seeking their input. We'll also meet with the local superintendent advisory council. The governor appointed LSAC will get to hear the input. Then we will also have the complete Kentucky United We Learn Council meeting on July 29th. So they'll have input and feedback on the current version. The plan is to then update version 2.0 to version 3.0 of this document in preparation for the Kentucky Board of Education's meeting in August. So lots of work, lots of good engagement, and a fast turnaround. So please complete that survey. And you may want to engage others in your district. You may want to talk with your district leadership, school leaders about these prototypes and get their feedback as you complete the survey. Let me pause at this point. Ben, are there any questions? Because I think the next topic we're going to go into our current.
We don't have any questions for this section. We do have one we'll want to come back around to at the end for ACT. I do want to make just a quick announcement as well. We had a couple people reach out about the K-Screen link not working, and we've resolved that now. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. And if you still need support, please continue to reach out to DAC Info, and we'll make sure you're taken care of.
Absolutely, absolutely. We want to get you the links and all the resources that you need to make you successful. Next slide, please. As we are thinking about the future, we also have to report the current assessment system and accountability system. So we have a tentative timeline that we're very pleased to share with you. If you'll go to the next slide, Ben, you'll see here that we have increased the time frame of which we can publicly report back to October. I want to knock on wood before I say this. There have been very little changes to the assessment accountability system. There's only a reporting change. So there's not the many activities this summer around standard setting and setting cut scores and things like that. Dare I say that it has remained the same, which leads us to a quicker public reporting. So the tentative timeline is for the release of our Kentucky Summative Assessment and alternate Kentucky Summative Assessment student assessment data in Pearson Access Next on August 2nd. So in schools right now, other assessment data is currently there. So you've got your access testing, you've got your ACT testing from 23-24, and all of your post-secondary readiness pieces. You should have all of those. This last piece of assessment data is coming August 2nd. So every piece of assessment data should be in your schools by August 2nd. Then we'll move into the student information prior to public reporting. So during the window of August 7th through August 14th, district assessment coordinators can put in new tickets for changes to demographic data, to 100-day accountability data, those non-participations. All of those can be submitted for approval August 7th through 14th, and the resolution of those tickets will be August 15th. So don't wait till the 15th to submit a new ticket, because that was it's only for resolution during that time. Then after that, we feel like then all of the data is as complete and updated as can be as we move into the quality control day on September 19th. So please put those on your calendars for our district assessment coordinators. This will be the first look at accountability data. So this will be the first time that you'll see the ratings, the color ratings, all those indicators, that overall rating, all of those pieces will be presented on September 19th for your review for any system-wide issues. So Quality Control Day is just our next step in our quality control process, where we're looking for big system-wide errors. So it's an important day. We've had it be very successful and have identified errors previously. So when we present this on the 19th, it's very much in draft form. Then if there's errors found, we'll update those and release it back to our districts for embargo prior to public reporting on October 1st, and then public reporting October 3rd. I want to note here for you that our public reporting during this time frame will be in open house. We've contracted with a new vendor for the school report card, and the school report card, that pretty shiny, very colorful school report card, will not be ready in October. We're going to go ahead and release public reporting and the color ratings in spreadsheets in open house. So we're not going to wait till the beautifully new designed school report card to release accountability and data publicly. So we're going to go ahead and release in October through spreadsheets within open house. So that'll be a little bit different, and more trainings and more support will be provided as we move toward those dates. And then the next time that districts can make individual student changes will be after that public reporting date. It's the 10-day regulatory review, but within the 10 days, the final date of the 10-day falls within a weekend, and so we moved it to the following day. So the 10-day regulatory review will be October 3rd through 14th for new tickets, and the 15th for resolution of tickets. So that'll be the opportunity, the final opportunity after public release for updating any individual student changes. So lots of exciting events talking about the future, looking at our tentative reporting timeline, and we look forward to engaging you in all of these. So let me pass it over to Shara, who has some updates for us and another exciting opportunity.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone again. As Jennifer said, I hope everyone is enjoying their summer and their time off. But I want to talk to you about coming back to school. As you prepare for the new school year, we would like to inform you about the upcoming changes to the Administrative Code Regulation 703 KAR 5080. This regulation is currently in the early stages, very early stages of the regulatory process to be updated. So please note that these changes will not officially go into place and will not be implemented until the 25-26 school year. So for this school year, the 24-25 school year, the the current regulation and the static link provided here on this PowerPoint slide will remain in effect. We will keep you informed of any further developments and ensure that you have the most up-to-date information as the process progresses. Now, so as I was saying, as you prepare to train your staff for the 24-25 school year, we would like to provide you with a couple of reminders to schools, for your schools and our DACs about the use of the training materials. To ensure that your staff always has access to the latest and most accurate training materials, we strongly recommend that you use these static links that I've provided, we've provided for you here on this PowerPoint slide, that you bookmark or save these static links rather than downloading and or storing those files locally. This is particularly important for the admin code and the inclusions of special populations training. Throughout the years, except for this year, we have done some tweaks and some updating to these trainings, and so they have from the year 2020 to now, we have done some updating. This year we've not done any updating, but we are anticipating those changes to come next year, and so we are holding off on updating them this year for you. But again, we want to make sure that you have the most current version of these trainings as you return back to school. So we encourage you to use these static links to ensure that you and your staff have continuous access to the most current trainings and reduce the need for manual updates and file management. Additionally, all of our other trainings developed by OAA are delivered via static links as well. So as you get ready to go back in, we hope that these links and our other trainings, our back to school trainings, are helpful in training your staff. So at this point, that's all I have about the admin code. Let's stop for a moment, and I'll turn to Ben. Do we have any questions for us today?
Sure, Shara. We have 2 questions. The first one I've got is an ACT related question. So I'll give a moment for Kristen to come on for this. Kristen, are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
All right, here we go. Are there also tentative dates for the spring junior ACT? And they just want to confirm that they had an understanding that this was the last year for the fall ACT administration as well.
Yes, so the spring tentative dates, they are again tentative because again, the contract is still in negotiations, but those tentative spring dates were released in our DAC email that went out on April the 22nd. And those dates are for the initial test window, March 11th through the 14th and the 17th through the 21st. And then for the makeup test window, it is March 25th through the 28th and March 31st, as well as April 1st through the 4th. So again, those dates went out on the DAC email on the 22nd of April, but certainly they can email me if they need any further information. And then yes, the understanding that this is the final administration for the fall ACT is correct.
All right, thank you. And then we have one other question, and this one is for Jennifer's presentation. So if Jennifer wants to hop on. All right. After seeing these prototypes, is there a potential timeline in mind for a new version of the state accountability system?
So that's a good question. So the $3 million grant that we received from the competitive grants on state assessment is through 2025. So looking at those, that timeline, we're looking to have legislative changes in 2026. So we're looking to have any legislative changes at that time. So working toward any statutory changes that would be needed here in the state in the 26th legislative session. So we would continue with what we have currently, or any updates that we would have between now and then. But as you know, it is being a district assessment coordinator, things take time. As Shara mentioned, there are timeframes for regulations to be reviewed. Once statutes are changed, then there's a time frame for which to get that in place. So we're looking at future assessments and accountability, maintaining what we've got until then.
All right. I don't believe we have any more questions at this time, but I will turn it back over to Shara.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jennifer. So yes, as Jennifer shared with you at the beginning of the webcast, that we have an announcement to make, an exciting one. The Division of Assessment and Accountability Support has an opening for an education program consultant. The education program consultant position will be posted soon for applications. The posting will list the job description and the duties for those interested in working in the Office of Assessment and Accountability in Frankfort. So look for more information in an upcoming special DAC email soon. But if you are talking with your colleagues who might be interested in this position, please share this information, and we look forward to filling the position quickly. And the application does take a little time to complete, but we are excited for this process to begin. So with that, I will turn it back over to Jennifer.
Thank you. Thanks, Shara. And if you'd move to the next slide, I think you've got control of that. We want to extend our thank you and our appreciation to Lisa Jett. As Shara just mentioned, we are have an opening because Lisa has decided to return to the classroom, to her love of teaching, and to the students. And although we're happy for her and glad for her future students, we're sad to see her go, and look forward to welcoming a new member into our family, our OAA family. So if you would share that, we'll have, when the link is ready and the application goes through, is on the personnel website, we will definitely get that out as soon as possible. And our next DAC webcast is scheduled for August 8th. So we'll look at that date to see if that continues to be a good date for us, because many people will be returning to school. We'll see that if that's a date that we can continue. Until then, you can look forward to our back to school trainings. We are working on those resources and those videos in collaboration with our DAC advisory. So look for those in an upcoming email. And until then, we hope you have a great rest of your summer as you welcome back your teachers and your students. Until we see you again, please stay safe and stay healthy.